Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zep and you are watching the Zep Zone. Now, I apologize that these videos, they're probably going to start looking a bit all over the place, right? And I do sincerely apologize for that. I just have a lot going on at the moment. I wanted to get a lot of these videos either streamed or recorded before going away on a little holiday to visit family, which is now from the moment of recording this in 2 days. But I've had such a busy week doing other stuff, because for those of you who may follow me on Twitter or social media or more so on Twitch, you know that I'm very big into the Call of Duty casting scene, and at the moment I've been spending a lot of time focusing on that, so that has taken up a lot of my time that I'd usually spend recording videos such as these. So it's leaving me quite stuck for time, so you may see these recordings are a little all over the place. I'm not exactly sitting down listening to the album all at once. Now, before I do, oh, went a bit out of focus there. Before I do the album review, which will happen at the very end, I will probably listen to the full album again in my own time, right? Especially now that I'm traveling to visit family for a few days, it would give me the perfect opportunity to re-listen to the album. But for the moment, it's probably going to be a case of just 2 or 3 at a time, getting them done as I can when I can, so I can have them all out and ready to go up for you guys before I go away on holiday. But for the moment, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for bearing with me, and we are continuing our reaction to the album with the song Money. Now, Money is one of the songs that they released as a single just before the album came out, and it was one of those ones that I was not skeptical of, but definitely wasn't my favourite by any means, and I've only heard the song that one time. I never went back and listened to it, so it'll be very interesting to see if my opinions have changed on it at all. Because so far in some of the songs we've heard in the album, my opinions certainly have changed, as if you've been watching in order, which I recommend you do if you're watching these videos. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anything's changed here. We're not going to spend too much more time chatting. We're just going to get into it. Really looking forward to it. Again, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. It really does help out. Again, a lot of these videos get copyright claims, so I make nothing off them. So if you want to support me in any way by going over and follow me on my Twitch and help me follow my dream over there, it helps out a lot. All the links down in the description, make sure to check them out. But for the moment, let's get into it. Money by The Warning. Interesting. I have thoughts. We'll let it run though. Okay, we're going to pause there. And this will probably actually be the only pause. It's only a 3-minute song, really. Okay, so my opinions haven't changed too much on how I feel about the song. Again, my opinions, just going to make that clear, opinion. My opinions on the song haven't changed too much from the initial listen, right? It's not my favorite by any means, but one thing that has changed is that I can now see that this song would translate way better live than it does in the studio version. I imagine this is quite a bop live. I just don't think it's one that translates too well. I mean, I go back to certain bands. I don't know who to think of off the top of my head. I'll go with Nothing But Thieves, right? They had songs, for example, on some of their later stuff that I wasn't a big fan of. I went to see them live because they're the band I've seen live the most, and then I ended up really enjoying listening to the song in question, because it was one of those ones where it just translated better in a live atmosphere. And then after having seen it in that live atmosphere and coming back to then sit at home listening to it just takes me back to seeing it in that live atmosphere. And I think this is the type of song that would happen with, because the groove, it's like the groove feels maybe a tad on the generic side, but it's maybe that genericness that lends it to being a good live song. It's a good bop, you could get into it. It's simple, it works. It's just maybe not something that I would choose to listen to personally in my own time, outside of hearing it live. You know, it's not something that I'd sit and just adore the studio version of, as opposed to a couple of ones like Evolve, for example. Let's run this out till the end, and I will give you my final thoughts. I really like this bit. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Money by The Warning from the Error album. Error album. When I say error, it sounds like era, but I meant error. The song is definitely a grower as well, right? I find myself enjoying it more the more I listen to it, and maybe with a couple of more listens, it's a song that even as a studio version, it would grow on me quite a bit. I think I had something in my head about the song, it's completely gone. Oh yes, I think the song builds really well. I think it going definitely in the second half. It doesn't do a lot to build. It's not doing a lot that's really in your face to show you it's definitely building, but it definitely builds in tension. And I think that's what this album, I think, is reveling in terms of themes at the moment. Again, I feel like this is an album I'll have to re-listen to try and get the themes of it properly. If there even is a running theme. I know there isn't one similar to that of Queen of the Murder Scene. But I wouldn't expect there to be. It's just a lot of these albums will maybe take more of a generic theme and run with them. But what I am hearing through a lot of these songs is tension. The album is quite tension filled, and I'm really enjoying it for that reason. I quite like tension in my music. I don't know why. It's something that I quite enjoy. I don't like proper resolution stuff, proper like victory type of everything will be okay now type of. I like music with tension chords. It's just the sound I like, which is why the album's appealing to me. And look, we had that intro 404, which sounded really cool. Disciple, surprised how much I like that. Again, Choke, really enjoyed that. Animosity, I think actually when I reacted to Animosity, right, I will say that maybe I just wasn't in the zone, but I've re-listened to Animosity since, and I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed it in that reaction. So the reaction video may not translate very well. I still enjoy the song. I don't remember even how the video came out, like what I said in it, so I don't know how well that came through. But and then this song is good. I mean, this is a good album. This is a very good album, and I'm curious to hear, right, because in terms of a Europe audience, right, one thing I was going to comment on in the album review, but I will leave that for I'm going to sort of mention it a little bit here. Um, it's weird. There's been no real. I've been seeing no hype for the warning on this side of like Europe, Ireland. I've seen sort of nothing, and that's not a bad thing on the band. I was only just thinking that I was like, God, it's first studio album, and again, I know people have had issues with me disregarding their old work. I'm not disregarding their old work. I'm simply saying on the staple of growing on a world stage, this is going to be recognized as their first studio album. But of course, fans will recognize the older pieces, right? That's something I should have clarified before. I apologize for that. But I'm just wondering, maybe with this album getting no kind of talk here, is it just a case of where it's maybe just be more publicized and advertised and made more of a deal of in South America and America? Because I suppose for a band from there going to Europe is like bands from here going to America, and they're trying to break the American market. And it's always a thing, especially with British bands, they're trying to break into the American market. Maybe it's just a thing across the pond, and at the moment they're on their first album, first studio album, where they've got massive production quality and budget probably as well, or a certain amount of budget for tours and advertisement. They're probably not focusing on getting that advertisement across to Europe yet. That's why the tour, as well as in America, they're nailing down their first tour, getting a good American tour, and then maybe beginning to focus on Europe. That's what my guess would be anyway. Because I was just thinking, like, God, this album deserves more attention than it's probably getting at the moment. Again, I haven't been keeping up to date too much on it, so I could be wrong in that. Maybe it is getting attention, but for the moment, I haven't been seeing loads of attention on it outside of YouTube reactors and active fans. So again, it is first studio album. The only reason I'm saying this is for anyone who's maybe worried, right, about this is like their third album and it's not like hitting the mainstream yet. Are we too late? Are we missed the boat? Do people not like the warning? This is their first studio album, realistically. So it'll be their next two albums where it's like, if they're going to hit the high levels, they're probably going to start doing it around then. For the moment, this is just a very important stepping stone. For the moment, a really good stepping stone, because so far it's a very good album. I'll go into this more in the review. I don't want to spoil all of what I had to talk about in the review, or else it'll just be like, yeah, it's good album. Like 30-second review, if even. But anyway, make sure to like and subscribe, folks. I've really enjoyed this song. I'm looking forward to moving on to the next one. I hope to see you there. Take care. Have a good one. Peace.